Hello, day 5, build your belonging. You'll probably get a glimpse of a little doggy down here as I'm doing my video. I am a bit later doing it today, so if you're expecting the live at 5, I apologise. Yeah, there's a Labrador she's gonna sniff her way into this video somehow. So here she is. What I'm talking about today is this idea of things being in our head. Like, I bet at some point in your life, you have either said the phrase to yourself, like, this is all in my head, or someone has said to you, oh, it's all in your head. Like, this is not, and so what we do is we kind of dismiss, and I've been speaking about this quite a lot, about kind of this dismissing the messages and dismissing the emotions and feelings that are coming through. And of course the long-term impact of that is it will come back and bite us one way or another. So we're trying to build this picture of awareness, like raising our awareness around what's actually going on for us and kind of giving ourselves permission to feel. And actually, it's quite difficult, because what we want to try and do is think our way out of feelings. We want logic, we want rationale, and there isn't always logic behind how we feel. And so it becomes really complicated, because we're very, very intelligent human beings, and we can't logic our way through stuff. So I'm trying to help kind of build a really big picture here around, how we get to create space for ourselves. And so I want to kind of propose this idea to you that it's not in your head, but not in the way that you might have once thought, because it's actually in your body. The body feels everything first and sends messages to the mind, and the mind then goes, oh, what's going on here? And we ignore it, or we create a narrative and a story about what we think's going on that, then creates the anxiety, the stress, and this becomes a whole bigger problem. And if you're someone that doesn't sleep very well at night, if you're struggling with sleep, this will be particularly interesting, useful for you, because if you spend all day long ignoring the messages and the signals that your body is giving you, they will appear at night time when you're lying in bed and you're like, oh my god, why can I not switch off? Why can I not sleep? I don't understand. Like, you've been flat out all day, you've been busy all day, and suddenly you're lying in bed, ping, wide awake, contemplating conversations that you've had, all the things that you should have said, right? And if you are someone that busies yourself, like to keep busy, and I understand this, then it's very possible that you are ignoring the signals and the messages that your body is giving you. And when these ideas and thoughts and feelings start to then kind of at night time start to appear, because we've ignored the signals all day, we then become stressed and we become overwhelmed, and it becomes a whole pattern and a whole way of being. So here's my proposal for you. I want to propose to you that by starting to listen to the signals and messages that your body gives you throughout the day is a much more beneficial way of processing and allowing these emotions to be there. And that, I know that can feel difficult. It's like, well, I don't really want to do that, because what if, and I've spoken about this before, what if I tune into these feelings and they're too much for me and I can't cope? And I want you to think about this analogy of like a bottle of lemonade or, some kind of fizzy drink. You keep the lid on tight and you shake it and you shake it and you shake it. You unscrew that lid a little bit, the whole thing's going to go. And it's the same for our systems. If we don't kind of allow ourselves capacity and freedom to feel and to notice, what's going on internally, it's the same situation going on. We're shaking it up. At some point we're going to blow, and we're going to blow at a moment which is probably going to be the least helpful. We're going to let rip at someone that we don't mean to, but it's like that straw that breaks the camel's back, right? And we've all been there, and we're like, oh my God, I've lost my, proverbial with someone, and then we feel terrible. So if we're able to create capacity and really tune in and listen, then we are more likely to have settled, calmer systems. Okay. And that doesn't mean that we have to meditate for hours and hours a day, because, you know, at the end of the day, this has to be sustainable for all of us. Like, we haven't all got hours and hours. I'm not talking about lying around and contemplating life. Like, these are simple practices that, you know, I'm introducing to you that you can fit into your life. Like, it's realistic to be able to do these things and, you know, to help build the muscle, build the resilience. Okay. So I want to share a little bit of science with you, not too much because I'm not a scientist, but just to help give you an understanding of, you know, why it is that the body experiences things first, and then it's the body that that sends the messages up to the mind, and then the mind starts to make meaning of things, and that's where we kind of get ourselves into a bit of bother. The body is, you know, super intuitive. So, you know, we'll say things to ourselves like, oh my God, like, you know, gut feeling, or I've got gut wrenching, or my heart, you know, and we'll feel our heart racing, or sweaty palms, tension in the head, but we'll ignore it. And we won't kind of connect it necessarily with what's going on because it's uncomfortable, it's difficult, we don't want to feel it. So we try and distract ourselves and squash it down. And actually that doesn't help, because in the long run, we just end up, you know, pushing it down. And if you think about the fizzy drink analogy, you know, those bubbles are just getting shaken up. Now, without going too deep, I want you to kind of imagine a motorway system, okay? And I want you to imagine that there are 8 lanes going in one direction and 2 lanes going in the opposite direction. And the way that it works, and this all links to a major nerve in our bodies called the vagus nerve, which essentially goes from our brain and literally has connection with every single major organ in our body. So when you get the gut wrenching or the racing heart, there's a really good reason why. Okay, so the eight lanes that I mentioned, that the direction that they are running in is from body up to brain. The other 2 lanes are running from brain to body. Okay, and that's the direction of travel. So the 8 lanes, okay, when we sense something, when we get the gut wrenching, when we get the racing heart, when we get the shaky hands, these 8 lanes have a greater highway up to our brains. So everything we are experiencing body first is traveling in that direction, okay? So there's more information coming from our bodies going up to our brains than there is traveling the other way. And there is some connection, obviously, from brain to body, but much less so, okay? So it's your brain that is interpreting what is happening in your body at a very simplistic level. It is way more complicated than that. And I'm not a scientist, but I have some basic understanding of our nervous systems, and that's essentially what is happening to us. So when we are ignoring these feelings and not tuning into them, the brain is still receiving these messages and like, oh my God, what's going on? Well, we're ignoring it and disregarding it. We're creating chaos, aren't we? We're ignoring the messages that are clearly being transmitted, that are actually, I need something right now. I need you to slow down. I need you to take a breath. I need you to rest. I need you to, I don't know, like just give yourself a minute. There's so many different things, and, we'll get into it a little bit more. But if we tune into our bodies more often and actually really pay attention to the messages that our bodies are giving us, then we enable our systems to calm down a lot more, okay? And what happens is we start to create an awareness and an understanding of what's really going on. There's a reason that your gut is wrenching, because it is sensing some danger in some form. Now, we're not talking about danger in the form of a tiger coming after us. We're not cavemen anymore. But there is something that your system is sensing that is saying, something's not right here. I'm not happy. Now, maybe it's a nervous situation. You're about to go for a job interview. You're about to have a difficult conversation with someone. And your body's going, hang on, I'm not safe. And what we do is like, oh, God, these are just nerves. Like, just ignore them. The more we do that and the more we suppress, the bigger the impact. The bottle gets shaken up, it's going to explode. But we're frightened of tapping into these emotions. So now we've kind of got an understanding of a very basic understanding of what's actually going on. I want to propose this idea around tuning into your body. Okay, now that might sound completely new idea for you, because most of us don't. Most of us are not paying attention. So what does it look like in practice? And I'm going to do a session tomorrow which will be a dedicated practice designed to kind of lead you through this, but just to give you an idea of the kind of things that we're talking about and how easy it is. It's stopping 3 times a day, stopping for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, paying attention to your body. So like a really gentle body scan, stopping, make yourself a cup of tea, grab a seat, sit down, and just kind of scan down your body like, right, what's going on for me right now? What do I notice? Where's the tension? What am I aware of? And then, thinking about the practices that we've done up until this point, like, okay, I'm aware of what's going on internally. I can just allow it to be there, and I can, invite a mindset of curiosity and possibility, and just allow these things to be there, even if it's uncomfortable. There are breathing exercises that we can do, even if you just stopped for a minute and focused on your breathing. So breathing in through your nose and gently breathing out through your nose again, but in a really deliberate and intentional way. That is another way that you can calm your systems down. So number 1, just stopping and checking in with yourself. When you get up in the morning, how am I feeling today? How is my body today? Maybe you notice some tension in your stomach, some tension in your head, and just be curious about it, okay? I'm aware it's there. Let's have a look at it. Let's see what might be going on for me. And essentially, the idea that I'm kind of proposing to you is that you are going to start to create a dialogue, a conversation with your body. So we've got this amazing superhighway running from body to brain, and you might feel quite disconnected from it, to be honest, because most of us are ignoring the messages that are being sent. What could it look like for you if you start to reconnect with your body? What might that look like for you? And it also includes things like movement. So going for a walk, doing some exercise of some kind, like yoga, or any kind of exercise. But those particular types of, movement are really good for creating a connection with your body. Breathing exercises, tuning into how you feel. And and just starting to notice how if you tune in regularly, what difference that makes for you. So my invitation is for you for this session is to reflect on, how do I create a dialogue and a conversation with my body? Thinking about this kind of superhighway that's running. Let's imagine that there's been a big traffic jam. There's been some kind of collision or accident around here, and we've got this disconnection. What might it look like for me to allow that highway to start moving more fluidly again? How can I start to listen to what is going on to my body? And, the benefit of doing that is we then start to create more capacity for ourselves. So the anxiety and the stress and the insomnia and the disconnection that we have felt will start to ease, because we are starting to tune in to what is going on for us. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Tomorrow I'll be delivering a practice to you that is designed specifically to link to this piece of learning that I'm giving you today. So I'd love to know in the comments via DM or email, if you're signed up to the series, what your takeaway is from today's session. And the question for you to hold today is, how can I create a conversation and really bring back that connection between body and mind, and what does that look like for you? And I really would love to know what that brings up for you when you think about that question. Okay, thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to being back with you tomorrow. And love to hear your comments and let me know how you're getting on with all of this. Speak to you soon. Bye.